Now this room at the moment is really quiet. In spring and summer, this is the busiest room. So if you can see, there's incubators all around the right-hand side and at the back of the room. And down the left-hand side of the room, there are purpose-built cages, but these cages actually have heat lamps above them as well. So if they are too old or well enough to be out of an incubator, but still need that heat, we can put them into the cages and then put the heat lamps on.
So is this for like, does this one have like, hold like any animal? So it's not like
Pretty
a bird room.
much,
So it's
yeah.
not like a bird room, which is just birds, or the small mammal room, which is just small mammals.
Yeah, exactly right. So this is effectively an intensive care unit. So this is for really, really ill animals or very, very young animals. So in spring and summer, when it's baby season, we get lots of newly hatched babies and newly born babies that parents should be feeding, but for whatever reason they've come into us, parents are not able to feed, so we have to do that for them. So this is where we do a lot of the hand feeding.
Do you get eggs sometimes?
All the time.
Oh, so is that why you used to use the incubator sometimes? Because usually the mothers sit on the eggs to keep it warm.
So we actually have a specialist egg incubator. So that is in a different part of the hospital, which I will show you, but it's got nothing in at the moment. So we have a specialist rearing unit. And that rearing unit is away from the main hospital because we need to make sure it's completely quiet in there when we've got patients in there. And that's where our egg incubator is. We use our rearing unit for things like foxes and badger cubs because they're quite easy to imprint. Do you know what I mean by imprints?
No, I'm not sure about that.
So imprinting is making them tame, okay? So for small babies, if only humans are handling them and feeding them, it's really easy for them to become imprinted and get too used to humans. We don't want them to be used to humans. We want them to be scared of humans so they act naturally when they go back out to the wild. So they don't ever come into this part of the hospital. They only go into rearing unit, and it's only certain members of staff that go in there to feed them. It's strict no talking policy. We only handle to feed and medicate, and then we are back out. They are left alone for the rest of the day, and we have CCTV set up in there so we can keep an eye on them when we need to without disturbing them.
So that shows from the egg of a bird to the adults, they take care of the whole life.
So it's a bit more relaxed in here now. We're able to have a bit of a chat in here.
So are there any?
Maybe here. Oh, he's being quiet now. So there's one with a towel over the front. So these ones are hedgehogs.
Yeah.
So they have towels in here. These will be ones that are either still quite poorly or they're quite small. So we'll keep them in here until they're at the right weight, off medication, and then potentially can go over to small mammal room. So they move from here to small mammal room. Obviously the birds go into bird room when they're ready. Have another hedgehog here. Now this one is on lots of treatment. So he was found outside on the patio door at 8:30 in the morning from Tewkesbury. And I suspect he's had a fecal sample somewhere. Yeah, so sample taken. We're finding with a lot of hedgehogs, particularly this time of year and particularly juveniles. So this one only came in at 216 grams, so quite small.
That's very small.
We're finding a lot of them coming in with parasite burden. So particularly things like Crenosoma capillaria. We're finding. So ringworm is an external parasite. Things like capillaria and Crenosoma are internal parasites, so we can't see them by eye without doing a fecal sample and then checking it under a microscope. So we do that for every hedgehog that comes into us.
So would they be in like the intestines or something?
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, and things like capillaria and Crenosoma can actually be in their lungs.
Wow.
So it actually makes them really quite poorly. So you'll sometimes hear hedgehogs there; they sound quite chesty, and it can sound like they're coughing. Normally that's an indication if they're excessively coughing that something is going on with the lungs, and normally we find that actually that is a parasite burden. Now we can only find out what parasites are showing in fecal samples. We are at the moment actually doing post-mortems on a lot of hedgehogs that pass away with us, so we can see exactly what's going on with those that have passed away, and this is when we're finding it in the lungs of the hedgehogs. So this time of year, what we think has happened is because the winters are much milder now, it isn't killing off the parasites as it was before. So actually they're surviving in hedgehogs. Hedgehogs aren't hibernating like they used to, and it's just being passed from hedgehog to hedgehog. So they're getting more and more sick, and then they come to places like here.
So post-mortems, that isn't that something that they do, like if someone's died, like the police, don't they do like a post-mortem and check like what might have happened, like if it was a knife wound,
Mm-hmm.
like they check everything about the body and like time of death. So that is really complex, very sophisticated, and somehow you do it here.
It's a very important tool
Yeah,
for
it's
us.
very
So
important.
we can only see so much by eye by looking at a hedgehog whilst it's still with us. Once, unfortunately, it's passed, or we make the decision that we need to end the suffering,
Yeah,
it means we can have a proper in-depth look and see exactly what was going on with that hedgehog and why it was presenting with those problems.
yeah.
So it gives us more of an insight to help treat others in the future as well.
Is that a bird of prey? Are there any birds of prey?
It's not a bird of prey.
Oh.
I will show you what's in there. I'm surprised he's stayed quiet, actually.
Yeah. I was a bit worried we were being pretty.
Oh,
we were a
no,
bit
you're
loud,
fine.
yeah.
So this one, he is absolutely... Oh, so we have actually got a buzzard in there, but he's not too bad with stress. You can hear him now.
Yeah.
So this... Let me just take that out. Don't you come out. These are little feral pigeons. So he came in. We actually put a post on our social media about this one. So you can see he's making that noise. It's because he came in very, very young. We actually don't see them this young at this time of year usually. So he came in very, very small. We were having to hand feed him because parents should still be hand feeding. He's beautifully demonstrating that he can actually feed himself now, which is why we don't need to hand feed him. He's getting excited because we're here, because he's got used to us, because we were feeding him. So when he hears and sees humans, he gets quite excited. He will grow out of this. So as he grows, we obviously won't be handling him very much, so he will get less used to humans.
I was about to ask, do you have to like rehabilitate him to live without humans?
So he's eating really well now. So we actually put him in with a friend day before yesterday now. And he's been a lot better since he's been with another pigeon.
Yeah.
So it's what he needed.
Because isn't that usually what happens with pigeons? They stay in like a flock together.
Yes, absolutely. You can normally see lots of them out the window. I think they're stressing the buzzard dogs. But you have to be really careful when you open the cage because he tries to kamikaze out of it.
So do you have like a lot of training to do this job?
Yes. So all of our care assistants have to complete a competency folder when they're with us. So you'll see that different staff have different coloured t-shirts when you go around. So we have our trainees that are in green, so they wear green tops. Yeah. And our fully trained staff wear black tops. Yeah. Now the training here takes at least 12 months. And the reason it takes so long is because they need experience with all different species that come into us.
Because you get all different species coming into here.
And they won't really, this time of year, they'll only learn about things like hedgehogs and pigeons. Yeah. And birds of prey. However, spring, summer, we get all different species in, so they get experience with those then as well.